Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Or should I say, what up, RambleFam? Because apparently that's a thing that's happening. Um,
What up,
so
Ramble fam?
that's a joke that I made yesterday that just stuck. So anyway,
We live here
what's
now.
up, everybody? Oh wow. We are already 7% into a level 5 hype train, and we just started. I don't know what to do with that information, really.
I'll start with like Geekouts, Remy, Hessen, and Edgefit. Thank you so much for your subscriptions and gift subs. Also to Anonymous Gifter. Thank you to all of you.
Yeah, oh, holy shit. Holy shit.
Edgefit!
Ha ha.
We're
Oh
back.
my god. How could this
Wow.
have
Who
happened?
could have done this?
Who indeed, my friend?
I'm gonna turn off the alert sound because it's holy shit. Oh my god. Okay, well, hello.
That was
Look at that.
amazing. Oh my
Okay,
god.
alright, okay.
Whoa.
Oh,
Contate Gato. Hello, welcome. Good to see
Hi.
you
Hi
here.
everybody. Um
did not expect.
Wow, that's a very cute number actually, 123%. I like that. That's a very nice looking number right there into a level 5 hype train. And I'm just going to fixate on that to avoid
Mhm.
acknowledging the fact that this hype train has fully broken me like 3 minutes into the stream.
wow. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, here we are. We
I
back,
wish
baby.
We're-
Well,
Hmm.
hello everybody. Welcome to Ramblemancy. I don't even know how to start this show anymore. I need to adjust my camera, so they just stay tuned, everybody.
there's a slightly down.
Just stay tuned, everybody. Here we go.
Oh, I sank down a bit.
It's all about the angles.
It's all about the angles. Um,
Hmm.
well, it is so good to see all of you here. There's so many of you. Oh my gosh. Hi everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, um let's see. What do we got here? We have we came ready to ramble. Gotta beat up some monsters. BRB. All right, Nico. Good to see you, by the way. Um passes baton to everyone else from last week. Excellent.
Hmm.
And it's good to see you. Just finish up my Kids on Bikes game, and I'm here for this. Excellent. I
Ooh,
hope it was a
nice.
good
Very
game.
nice.
How'd it go? Let's see. I saw full steam ahead. Yeah. Hmm. Chat really
Choo
just said.
choo.
Yeah. Chat really did just say choo choo, motherfuckers. So. Wow. 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 Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody who
Hmm.
gifted subs, everybody who resubbed. Thank
Biddies.
you through bits. Yeah, throwing bits. Wow. All right. Well, that sure is a way to start a stream. Um. Well, welcome. Um. Let's see. Oh my gosh, Thunder Cabbage threw some bits as well. Thank you so much. So let's start, shall we? So
Hmm.
we've got just sort of our regular announcements, which is first and foremost, as many of you may have noticed, we sort of delayed our media club posting this week. We will get that soon, TM. It'll come
Yes.
out. It'll come out. It'll happen.
We we have been very busy working on some other things this week.
Some of which we'll tell you about tonight. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so yeah, the media club was sort of postponed last minute. We'll get it up as soon as we can. Um, so that's one of the main announcements. Second announcement: tomorrow, right here, 6 p.m. Pacific time, on this very channel, in a world. I'm not gonna do that anymore. We will be continuing and perhaps finishing our Borderlands 2 playthrough.
Hmm.
Bree will be back on the channel. Freeman will be here. John will be present, blowing shit up, and I will also be participating. So
Lucas is like, I'm here, I'm the camera.
so
Listen,
yeah,
you bring the murder bot, and we
that's
so
true.
desperately need that.
You guys only like me for my murder bot. Yeah,
Listen,
so
we've always known that this was not about any of the four of us on screen. This has always been Murderbot
it's
the
the Murderbot
musical.
show. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Hashtag and grenades. Yeah, good,
Mhm.
good, good, good.
When in
Um,
doubt,
Mm.
grenade out.
exactly. So yeah, so that'll be happening tomorrow. We'll hopefully be getting through the rest of it and maybe getting our asses handed to us multiple times on live on the internet. So that'll be fun for everybody except for us.
Mhm.
So yeah, definitely come by and watch that. Starting next week, probably. Um, on Saturdays, I will be picking up the Mass Effect streams, which will be not on Twitch anymore. They will be in the Discord. So this week, you might see some new channels appearing in the Discord that are specific for the Mass Effect stream. They'll have specific permissions and all sorts of good stuff, and you'll be able to go in there, watch me do some space stuff, and come hang out and chat and whatever. As I mentioned last stream, absolutely no pressure to participate in voice chat. I mean, you'll have to be in the voice channel to actually like see the stream, but you don't have to participate. So we will have a text channel for that as well, so you can, uh, if you want to do that, but you don't want your voice to be perceived, you can still participate in chat, much like you would here on this platform. So, um, Infinite Horizon and Into Deep have both been pushed back a week, as I mentioned last time. I'm just sort of recapping all of like the announcements from last time. So instead of our TTRPG programming starting on September 1st, like we originally said, Infinite Horizon will be back on September 8th, and Into Deep will be back the following week, following Tuesday on, I think that's the 14th, unless I'm much mistaken.
Yes, it's the
Mhm.
14th. I'm 90% sure
Yeah.
on that. I'm gonna look at
And
14th is the
so
14th.
and again, Into Deep's start date is less of like a that's the start date and more of like a we'll see where we're at when we get there, because as mentioned, fully half of the cast have moved during the break and are still getting their shit together, which is totally understandable. So we'll see where we're at the time, and if things need to be delayed, they will be delayed. So
Somebody
um
who has moved like 3 times in the last year and a half sucks. I hate it.
yeah.
So understandable.
Yeah.
All right. So, yes, exactly, Geekouts. It's a loose suggestion as to when Into Deep will start. Much like, much
More
like, much like, Waterdeep Dragon Heist was also a loose suggestion for that group.
I think really that group looked at that module and all of the things that the people who had worked very hard writing it had written and went, they're more like guidelines anyway.
Fully. Um, yeah. So I think that's most of our sort of upkeep announcements. So now, the big announcement. One of them, anyway, because there's more coming, like way down the line, like a month or two from now. Those will be happening, but like the current big one.
Uh-huh. This one's
So,
very fun.
so I'm just gonna sit here and stare at the camera and build suspense.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, the silence has gone on for an uncomfortably long time, and that makes me personally very uncomfortable. I set out to make you uncomfortable, I made me uncomfortable, and now we're all uncomfortable. Our big announcement is that we, Rule of Lore, are partnering with Q Times to bring you a 4-episode actual play special of Republic City Rumble, an Avatar Legends actual play focusing on pro bending. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so fun. So you're gonna be able to see that. So the way that's gonna be formatted, there's gonna be 2 episodes on Q Times, and then the rest of it is gonna be here on Rule of Lore. We're gonna have the same cast the whole way through, 2 GMs, one for Q Times and one myself here. I'm very excited for that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, you'll be able to see some of the promo stuff going out soon, which I'm very excited about. Um, so yeah, so I don't know if we're talking cast announcement yet, but I sort of feel like Jake's answer to that would be, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he didn't say specifically that we should talk about the cast tonight, but he did say we have a cast, we have dates. So I'm gonna say that, if
Sure.
we could,
So
probably
let's start
sprinkle some
with the
names
dates.
out
How
there.
about how about we start with the dates, because
Mhm.
so this is going to be starting on, I'm pulling out my notes that I did in fact take. This will be starting on September 25th, so Saturdays. It's going to be on a Saturday. And it'll go for 4 consecutive Saturdays. I don't did we I think we said 6 at 6 p.m. Pacific
I
time.
think so.
Yeah, I think so. It's 6 to 9 PDT is the kind of
Which I
projected
just now realized
time
was
slot.
not information that we put into the promo material. I just realized the time was not a thing that we put in there. We'll figure that out. Whatever. We'll deal with that. That's not important right now. The important thing is
We can put that on everything else. Yeah.
From here on out.
From here on out, that's gonna be important. So no, you just have to keep showing up to Q Times and Rule of Lore on their respective days. Just hope periodically throughout the day just to see if it's on. So yeah, so that's when it's going to be happening. It's going to be starting on September 25th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, over on Q Times. So the first 2 episodes will be over on Q Times, and then the remaining 2, the conclusion to the story, will happen here on the last 2 Saturdays. Yeah. So, the cast. So, this is a full collaboration between Rule of Lore and Q Times, which means we've got some folks that you've probably gotten used to seeing here, and some folks that you've probably gotten used to seeing over there. So, we've got a cast of 2 and 2, and I'm very excited to tell you that the Rule of Lore cast for Republic City Rumble will be our very own Remy Ripple. Remy will be
Follow Remy on Twitter.
Follow Remy on Twitter. And also one Liv Chavez, Live in a Day, will be there as well. I'm very excited about that. I am also just as excited to announce that the cast from Q Times will include one Xander Janaray and the inimitable Sam Delev. So I am so very excited about all of this, and it has been very difficult keeping this quiet. So
Yeah, and just to say those names one more time in order, the Rule of Lore cast are Liv Chavez and Remy Ripple, and we have coming over from Q Times, Xander Janaray and Sam Delev, which I am losing my mind over.
And
I'm
of
so
course,
excited.
And of course, I'll be GMing over here on Rule of Lore, and Krug will be GMing over on Q Times. So yeah, I'm very excited about this. It'll be a lot of fun. That's all I have to say about that. I mean, I have more to say about it, but it's really just more of the same thing over and over again. So yeah.
The rest of the stream is just us, how excited we are. We're just melting down over here.
So Freeman,
Yeah,
on a
truly.
scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you?
I don't know. 10, is that?
Yeah, that's acceptable.
I'm probably bursting through that. Honestly.
John, on a scale of 1 to fully exploding and destroying everything around you, how excited are you?
Yeah, so I think allow me to instead just sort of express this through interpretive movement, just sort of like a.
Brilliant.
That sounds, yep.
Brilliant.
That sounds about right. That's
I should have thought about doing that. All right. It's good.
Edgefit says grenade out of 10. So yeah, that's about right. Yeah, so yeah, that's gonna be happening very soon. Actually, it was a pretty quick turnaround on this from inception of this idea to execution. Pretty quick turnaround.
Honestly, it's been a combination of me just kind of turning into a puddle, and then also just.
Ooh.
There it is.
Okay.
You knew it was going to come out.
I sort of forgot that you had it, so no, really, I didn't.
Yeah,
But
I forgot. No, wow, that's a
yeah,
Yeah,
so
just have one of these around.
that's our big announcement. That's our current big announcement, because there will be more coming at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned. Not during this stream, because that's not going to happen. I mean, do stay tuned during this stream, because we like having you here. But yeah, that's what we got. That's what we got. That's what's happening.
Yep.
That is why that is specifically why Media Club was delayed this week. So, yeah. Uh,
Yeah, it was legit us like meeting to put this thing together the last week and kind of like finalizing details and talking cast, and also like putting together promo and everything else that kind of like went into making sure that this all came together.
Yeah.
So
so, yeah, that's what's happening. Um So yeah, stay tuned to social media, Discord, stuff like that for more info on that, which will be coming soon. Um, the promo stuff was almost as fun to make as like any of the rest of it. So
I'm
yeah.
impressed. That's all I'm gonna say.
it was so fun to
That-
write.
Don't worry. No, shut up. We didn't write anything.
That-
What?
We didn't write anything. Shut up.
Oh, we wrote nothing.
Anyway. Yeah,
Ooh.
so we shall be doing that soon. Let's move on to tonight's episode, which is about well, we don't know. We don't know what it's about. It's about nothing. We're just here.
What is it? What is it about?
What?
What is it all about?
What is it all about?
What
Tonight
are
on
any of us?
Ramblemancy, we're asking the question, what is it all about?
It.
By it we mean Ramblemancy. What seriously, what are we doing? I feel like this is literally just us. We're just riffing here. I don't
Yeah, we are kind of just doing a bit and trying to like pull our brains back
It's
together
just
after making that
one
announcement
bit
and the hype
stacked on
train.
top of another bit. Really, it's just bits all the way down.
It's a
Littlest
bunch of
Drummer-
bits in a trench coat.
Woo! Littlest Drummer has an excellent question, which is what are frogs?
I think that's actually a statement. That looks like a statement to me.
Yeah, the right
What are frogs?
Punctuation is important. It's the difference between let's eat grandma and let's eat grandma. Punctuation saves lives.
I'm already not happy with how this stream is going. I'm already not pleased. X-Files theme. Yeah. I don't.
I was saying Twilight Zone theme in my head went on.
Mhm.
Twilight
Yeah.
Zone.
Frogs are what? There you go, Edgefield. That's correct.
Mhm.
No, you know what? It was better with all caps. I think you really made your point there. Yeah.
Really,
So
like-
that's
Go ahead.
what do we want to talk about? I mean, we could do anything. We did this to ourselves.
We did.
We said, what if we removed all pretense of rails?
I gotta say, like this isn't really a topic of conversation, but I do have to say I knew a little bit what I was getting into when I ordered myself this. After seeing the first episode of the 7 over on Dimension 20, I did not expect quite the degree to which I would like feel quite the level of power I would feel from this little $10 fan. I have another one coming that's got a cool design on it, but like it is, I have literally just sat here in my chair like spinning around and flicking it out and then putting it back in and then flicking it out and putting it back in.
I saw
We
a
were doing it
question-
very well.
I saw a question in chat from Geekouts, which is favorite element and why.
Good one.
Some good Avatar questions.
True.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Man.
I would be tempted to say fire, just because like I don't know. It's I just like it, and I like the fire bending form is cool. But if the question is about like what element I would what bender I would be, I'm certain there was a time when I would have said firebender, but I'm certain I would be an earthbender. I'm dead certain that I would be an earthbender. Um, so there you go. Two answers in one. Two answers for the price of one.
Mhm. Yeah, I think I think for me, sorry, I'm just adjusting. There we go. My camera was like weirdly out of focus. Okay. I think for me, air is probably the element that I like the most, just because flight has always been one of my like personal power fantasies.
Mhm.
And so the possibility of flight and just the fact that you get to fly makes air one of my favorites. Also, just the incredible versatility that airbenders have. Air and waterbenders, I think, are both some of my favorite benders in the Avatar series.
Mhm. Free man.
I think if I was a character now, I'd probably be a waterbender.
Oh, they're all so good in their own way. And when you remove one of them, then everything's out of balance, completely out of whack. So you have to draw knowledge from all four in order to have complete understanding of the elements and
Jesus,
have
Freeman, if you don't have an
reach
answer,
true
don't give an
balance.
answer. If you don't have an answer, you could just say that. You can...
No, I would say that I'm very fond. I'm very fond of water.
Yeah.
I have to say I'm very fond of water. Absolutely.
Also, following up on Geekouts' question, and why is it Uncle Iroh, and like favorite character and favorite elements? What I really appreciate that even outside the Avatar, there was somebody who very clearly had studied the other elements in Iroh, in that he very clearly had studied waterbending, as he gave like Zuko advice about how to redirect lightning. But like I think there's an argument to be made that Iroh had made a study of all four of the elements, and that may have been explicit at some point. But I think just remembering back to like the Agni Kai between Zuko and Zhao,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like a very earth focused like idea to like focus on like the root that connects them to their bending power, and focusing on breaking that. I don't know. It's something that if I ever like next time I rewatch the series, I kind of want to look out for.
I think mine has to be Asami. I just think Asami is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Asami is like, she's smart. She's a fucking badass. She's like one of my favorite Asami scenes is when she like the very first time when Korra decides we're like maybe Asami's kind of cool after all, is like when they're on the racetrack and Asami just is like just fucking driving just like a maniac, just kicking the ass of the other racer. Like that's probably one of my favorite Asami scenes. And she's just such a like really, that's a character who I think was so many different things throughout the whole series. She was so many different things, and all of them made sense. Like all of them were things that like you you just saw uh all these different sides of her throughout the whole thing, and I just thought that was great. I think she was a great character.
Hmm. Was this sorry, is this who's our favorite character?
Mm-hmm.
Kind
Mm-hmm.
of. Okay, yeah. Oh boy. Oh yeah. I don't know. It's been a while. I think I can instantly say Katara at this point, just because of how like progressively more powerful she becomes with her bending, and absolutely just like in that last battle, just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes I will just go and watch the last Agni Kai, because that scene is a masterwork of contemporary animation,
Yeah.
and is like the emotional climax of so many story threads.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and thinking back to like the very first episode where we meet Katara and then watching Katara in that scene, I'm just like,
Hmm.
what an incredible arc this character has had, like in both in like the growth of her power, but also who she is and how she
Mhm.
interacts with the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, um, really close second for me, Lin Beifong.
Oh my god, I love Lin
Lin
Beifong.
Beifong is incredible. Um,
I think Lin might have been my favorite character in. I think Lin might have been my favorite character in Korra.
Lin, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Lin's really cool. Um, okay, I have another Avatar related question, which is
Mm-hmm.
um, throughout both series, chat. This goes for you too. Favorite villain.
Ooh.
I actually I asked this because I already have an answer.
Yeah.
And it is like it's easier to say that about like in Korra because the villains are more visible because like the Last Airbender has like one sort of main big bad, and then sort of minor ones throughout, whereas Korra has like one per season, one main big bad per season. So there's kind of a lot more of them, but like there's some others in there,
Mm-hmm.
in Avatar: The Last Airbender. But my favorites are probably favorite villains, the friends we made along the way. Um, Good. That's actually a great answer.
Yeah,
um,
actually.
I think probably it is a tie for me between um Zahir and Kuvira because I liked both of those were my two favorite seasons of Legend of Korra. Like I didn't dislike any of the seasons, but those are my two favorites. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's largely because of those two characters because so like they're just so interesting and atypical from what you would expect to find in like that kind of show.
Yeah.
Like Zahir is a Zen sort of like philosopher sort of type, and I think that's a fascinating villain concept. And also like the concept of an airbender as a villain is just great. I love that. Um, and Kuvira is great because she is like that perfect archetype of like the like as we saw so many times in like in the Roman Empire, right, where you've got like this war hero who goes off to war and they become a war hero and then they come back and they're like, hey, so I fought that war for you and now I'm taking what's mine and you can't do shit about it because the people are with me, right? Like that kind of like
Yeah,
she's a great
exactly.
archetype of that, and I thought that was pretty great.
Hmm.
Remy brought up a character that I also think about anytime
Mhm.
somebody mentions Avatar, but Ko the Face Stealer.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That is an absolutely iconic. It's not like, again, it's not a like Ko's not a villain. They're just a spirit that Aang encounters in order to like
Yeah.
get information that they need, but still absolutely incredible. Um, man,
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
it is harder to think about villains from Avatar the Last Airbender, because you kind of have like Zuko, who becomes their friend, you have Azula, and you have Ozai.
I mean, there's
Hmm.
also Zhao,
Oh,
Yeah, Zhao,
Zhao,
for
and
sure.
also like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's
Um, I always forget his name, but he has the swords. He's one of the rebels out in the woods, the tiger hook
Jet.
swords.
Yeah.
Jet, yeah,
mm-hmm.
who's not. I wouldn't really also count, but yes, it's kind of one of those things. Um,
Yeah.
I think I like Jet because at the end he like went through. He kind of like came back and was like, "I'm trying to help you," and then he ends up, well,
Yeah.
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 Paku.
um,
Yeah.
hmm.
I, he's kind of a dick, but I don't know if I would classify him as a villain. um,
Yeah, I
like,
think
yeah.
in interest of not overlapping, because I do love those. I do love those villains from Korra. I do like Azula as a villain.
Azula is one of those villains who seems really two-dimensional at first, but then like you start diving into the layers later on, and it's
Mm-hmm.
fascinating. Like,
Yeah, specifically because I just mentioned the last Agni Kai. By that point, you realize what a tragedy you have
oh,
watched unfold.
Yeah.
sorry, yeah,
Right?
Edge of It just reminded me. Of course, there's Long Feng is also a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, Long Feng is also a villain.
I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking about that. I couldn't remember who it was that was in charge of like the whole like there is no war in Ba Sing
Yeah,
Se thing.
Yeah, me too.
Um,
Long
yeah,
Fang.
yeah.
yeah, what a line! I can hear that in Grey Delisle's voice in my head. My own mother thought I was a monster. She was right, of course, but it still hurt.
hmm
Like,
Yeah.
ooh.
Yep.
Oh, like I recently rewatched the whole thing, and like I'd really never paid that much attention to it, but that's like that whole sequence at the end of the series where she is like completely coming unraveled, like
Mhm.
that was like, whew, that's a like such a powerful sequence, I think, with her.
Mm-hmm.
That
It's
yeah.
Absolutely.
you part of you wants to feel like vindicated that you are watching the villain of this arc like come undone, but at the same time you're also like this is you almost like you certainly don't agree with anything that Azula does or has done, but it certainly does, I think, wind up making her sympathetic. Like you look at her almost as a product of what of her like of a product of the horrible environment that she was raised in, and it was just like a few choices and a few things that like are the difference between her and Zuko.
Sorry, I just saw Amethyst said I've got a great antagonist, Avatar Kyoshi. That's not what I expected you to say. I was expecting the meme answer of Melon Lord, but um, that's very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. I'm curious to have you explain that one, if you wouldn't mind. But I also want to go back because Nico had some cool stuff to say about. So Nico said, "So I recently rewatched the Disney Atlantis movie, and I'm about to start my Legend of Korra rewatch. Somehow this idea came to my mind. We never get to know what happens to the cities on the lion turtles. Korra, however, knows that they existed. There is no way that she wouldn't tell Asami. There is also no way that through Asami, Varric wouldn't learn about it. That's true. So
Mm-hmm.
post season 4, post Spirit Realm vacation, Asami and Varric build a huge waterbender powered submarine and go on a hunt across the ocean floor to find the lost cities of old. And the players are part of that crew. Basically Disney Atlantis, but in Legend of Korra canon. That's incredible.
Whoa.
That's a great, great
Wow.
that's a great idea. I hope that goes really well because that sounds incredible.
Yeah,
Um,
that sounds wild. I mean,
uh,
Nico's kind of told me about that already, but like I hearing it again, I am excited all
okay,
over it. That
so
idea.
so here's the thing. I see this being thrown around all the time. I'm just responding to what Geek Out says about Kyoshi, which Kyoshi told Aang to give over his shit and straight gank fools. Actually, she did not do that. She did not tell Aang to do anything. She's like, "Hey, listen, this is what I did. Like, that's what I did in my thing." But Kyoshi did not tell Aang to kill anybody. Kyoshi did not give Aang actually any kind of advice, really. So I see that misconception all the time, but I recently rewatched and I was like, literally just a couple weeks ago, and I was listening very carefully to what Kyoshi said. I'm pretty sure she didn't tell Aang to do anything, did not advise him one way or another. She's just like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I did. Like, so uh and it was, and I'm pretty sure she even like sort of says or implies at least that like that's what was right in the moment, in that moment, in my time, that was the right thing to do, and I stand by it. um Actually, geekouts, I feel like that was the airbender avatar that said that you set aside your
I think it might have been. I think it might have been the Airbender avatar who said something about like setting aside their like worldly attachments or something like that,
That
which
like
would
she says
track
something to him
with.
that like you're an airbender, but as the avatar, you're not just an airbender. You are, uh, yeah. I could be wrong because, like I said, this was like a couple weeks ago that I saw this, but um, yeah, I could be wrong, but I was paying attention to what Kiyoshi said, and I'm reasonably certain that she didn't actually advise Aang to kill anybody. um, Vatu,
Vatu.
Vatu was a little bit too like conceptual for me, where she's like, Vatu is just a little too mustache twirly, like, whoa, Rava, you look weak and blah blah blah. It's like, shut up, like just sort of a like embodiment of like a cosmic embodiment of pure evil and darkness or whatever. I don't. It's, I guess, compelling when you say it, but like in practice, I don't know. I didn't find him that compelling,
Yeah, I
but
found.
Unalaq, on the other hand, Unalaq is kind of interesting. I think
Mhm.
I thought Unalaq. I think is what made Vatu an interesting villain. Personally, that's my. Oh yeah, appreciated the Olympic Titans feel of it. Honestly, I think many people would probably agree that season 2 is their least favorite, but the Avatar 1 episodes are incredible. I love those
Amazing.
episodes. Those are my favorite part, bar none, of that season. Right. Thank you, Nico. Kiyoshi's advice was to be decisive. Yes, exactly. Um,
Yeah, pretty much like whatever you do it like
hmm
completely. Like make a decision and follow through on it.
Yeah, that's a very earthbender thing to say. Eska. That's yes, Eska, and
Yep.
very good. Okay, one of my favorite. This has quickly become the Avatar episode of Ramblemancy, but I'm fine with it. I don't hate it.
Mhm.
One of my favorite moments in Legend of Korra is when Mako and Bolin are captured by Zahir's people, and like Bolin starts like kind of making friends with them. And he's like, "Ooh, let me try," and he like starts making it like, cause what's her name? I forgot her name. The Waterbender. I always forget her name specifically.
Mhm.
She was saying how she like getting by in her prison. She would make up stories about the guards, and then Bolin was like, "Ooh, let me try," and then like started telling him, "Okay, you're the youngest child or something like that." It goes on and says stuff, and then he's like, "Huh, not bad, 2 out of 3," and like, and then Mako's like, "Stop making friends with our enemies," and yeah, it's one of my
Bullen
favorite
is a
scenes.
bard. Fight me.
Bolin's amazing. I love Bolin.
Yeah, me too.
Um, Avatar Kuruk is best Avatar. If you don't know his story, I highly recommend looking it up. He's fascinating. Ooh, interesting. I might have to do that. Varric was a villain for a bit. That's true. Varric was a villain for a bit. Um,
Koala, hello.
Koala.
Welcome.
Hi. Welcome to the area. This being the area. Um, hello.
And I thought this was the area.
You know what? It is.
Is it not all of this just the
What
area?
what is an area? Tonight on Rule of Lore, we discuss
No,
what
no, no.
I took geometry in middle
I was
school
gonna
and
say, I
I'm
swear to
never
God, if
going
any of
back.
you in chat come at me with math right now, I'm banning you. I'm gonna time you out. I'm not gonna do that because that's too much work.
Mhm.
The 51st area. Oh Jesus Christ, no, stop with the geometry questions. Hey, listen, you knew what you signed up for when you came. And it wasn't geometry.
Mhm.
Um,
I just now saw the title that you put on this episode of Ramblemancy.
Mhm.
Just now looked over and saw Ramblemancy, the Ramble Famining.
hey, listen, when
Anyway.
when it's good, it's good. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, yep, that's all I got. That's all I got to say about that. Um,
Hmm.
when it's bad, it's also good. ah, yeah. What was I gonna say about? I had some more things to say about Avatar and Legend of Korra, but I don't now. It's gone. It's fully not in my brain anymore. It stopped. See, my hair is what keeps the thoughts in my brain, and even that doesn't do a good job. So now that there's no hair, there's no thoughts.
Seen any? Remy asks,
Someone,
y'all seen?
someone clip that.
Anyway, what did
Every
Remy ask?
time Remy's asking, y'all seen any movies lately, new or old?
Ooh, I feel like I have. Hold on.
Yep, absolutely.
It's not a movie, but I have started rewatching The Expanse again.
Ooh, nice.
Koala watched
Amethyst
Blade. Nice.
Amethyst is trying to get me to watch. I can't remember the name of the movie. Oh no, actually, I did watch a movie recently. I did watch a very fun movie recently, which I watched. I think I had seen it before, but only in fragments. I watched Cinderella 3 for the first time like as an adult. And what an experience that was watching Cinderella 3. Like just the whole concept of it is kind of wild in that the evil stepmother gets a hold of the fairy godmother's wand and turns back time to make one of her daughters, Anastasia, like fit the sliver, and then like bewitches the prince into falling in love with her daughter. And it's like the, you expect the story of like Cinderella attempting to get Prince Charming to fall in love with her all over again, but the absolutely hilarious antics on the way there are so good, and there are so many song numbers in it that are just absolute fire. I like what I'm saying is go watch Cinderella 3. It's very good. Also, the prince gets to be a character and jumps out a fucking window. It's great.
I want to say that I'm really obsessed with the fact that Koala loved Blade. That makes me very happy.
I am somehow not surprised, Koala, by the fact that you really enjoyed Blade. And
I
I did
need
like
to
that's not it. That's
rewatch
not like
all
a
of those movies. Yes, I said all of them. I'm gonna rewatch them all. Can't just do one.
I don't even I don't even know
Honestly,
if I've watched one at least, maybe, but I don't remember if that's true or
See,
not.
the thing is, I think of all of them, I think I don't know for sure, but I think I have not actually seen the first one, or at least I've seen very little of the first one, but I have seen both of the other two. Um, but yeah. Um, welcome back, Nico, from that hellish place you just described in the chat.
yes, I see you've been fighting. I know the name.
Bro, everyone in Blade is so hot. Yeah, I mean, hey, that's fair.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. I swear I've seen a movie recently. But the thing is I don't watch movies that often. I watch movies when and only when the mood strikes me, and that's pretty rare because actually that's not true. It's not that it's rare, it's that it's rare that the mood strikes me when I don't need to go to bed in like an hour. Like when I want to watch a movie, it's usually at like almost like 1 a.m. and I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I don't watch a movie right now. Maybe I don't start a movie right now.
I do that all the time, and most of the time it winds up with me watching either the entire movie and then being too tired the next day, or watching 2/3 of the movie, stopping.
You know what I did watch recently? I wouldn't say it's a good movie, but I did rewatch a movie for research purposes. I watched a movie that I watched for the first time, like around the time when it first came out, which was Domino, starring Keira Knightley,
Interesting.
and I think Mickey Rourke. Anyway, it's a weird movie, and it just reminded me of like, you remember that period of time when like uh Memento was like a big deal, and everybody and their moms decided they wanted to like make movies exactly like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's sort of this movie, but it's also sort of a docudrama. And I'm like, you can't do that. Don't do that.
That sounds
Don't.
like a very ambitious crossover that was destined to not go so
It's
well.
where like everybody was like, "Oh, what if we also played with our concept of linear storytelling?" It's like, "Stop. Stop. You're telling the story of a real person's life, like a dramatized story of a real person's life. You don't need to play with linear storytelling." Anyway, um
Enjoy your movie, Koala. We'll see you later.
I think
Au
there are
revoir.
things that I like about the movie, but for the most part, the way that it was filmed and the way the story was told ended up feeling like at the end of it, like I had just been participating in a visceral fever dream where like
Mm,
you come out the other side of the movie and you don't have a firm grasp on it, on what just
mhm.
happened. Like you can describe all of the beats of the story, but you still don't have a clear grasp on what happened. I don't know. It's it's fine. That's what I'll say. I don't know that I would have done it for my own enjoyment. I was doing it for research purposes. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Freeman, how about you?
Yes. I got struck suddenly by a need to watch 1933's Carl Lammel Jr.'s um, adaptation of H.G. Wells's The Invisible Man. What a long title. Um, this is also part of, I did this also for somewhat, not really research, but just for media club purposes. So I
Right.
won't say too much. I'll just say that I'm a big fan of Claude Rains, the actor, British actor whose debut was this movie in the States. And what an amazing what an amazing voice the man has. That was the thing that featured so heavily because it's the Invisible Man. So you can imagine that, well, he's either bound up in some kind of attire to make him visible, or he's not, he's invisible. He's doing a voice over that they applied to a scene later. So he used his voice to really project the character and the true insanity of this character, which I love.
Hmm.
Very distinct voice, amazing, and I recommend, like I say in the media club, which I'm totally just saying almost all of it right now, not all of it, but some of it. I recommend it
Yeah, really
highly. Classic.
this whole question from Remy was just this was just Remy trying to trick us into revealing our media club secrets before we post it.
Oh,
Um
I have plenty more that will be on Media Club that's not movies, because there's been a bunch of other things that I've been
yeah.
into this
Oh,
morning.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Nico says PSA, if you like superheroes and don't mind graphic depictions of violence, go watch Invincible. It's on my list. It's on my list for sure. Speaking of superheroes though,
Hmm.
I like when Rick was here, when Rick Budd was here, we talked about Titans, which the third season has started, and it's so good. Like I love that show. I know that it's been kind of like a controversial sort of whatever, but I feel like it's the same kind of controversial around Star Trek, like newer Star Trek stuff, where people just
Mhm.
hate it because they
Because
like
it's not
it's
the next generation.
people. No, people just hate it because they don't. They that's like their replacement for having a personality. But um, not to say that there aren't legitimate criticisms. There are. I'm just saying. Anyway, the point is that I love Titans. It's very much like it's gritty, but it's not gritty in the way that like wallows in the grit. Like it's gritty so that they can set into it the sort of setting it against the like the elements that I like, which are like the elements of like found family of people who truly care about each other and comfort each other when shit goes wrong and whatever. Hi, Claire.
Hey, Claire.
Listen, I have no time for people who hate things on principle. Okay, like I just have no time for that. Um, like you level your critical thought at shit or don't talk to me. Like You use your critical thinking skills and your critical reasoning skills, or you don't talk to me. But if you hate something just on principle, you can get out of my face. Um, anyway.
All of this, I'm gonna need you to take it somewhere else
Mhm.
until you can apply some of this.
Like, we don't have to agree on shit, but like on our opinions about TV shows and movies or whatever. But like, if you hate it just because it's cool to hate things, then I don't want to talk to you, and you can have that party all on your own somewhere else. Um. Anyway, that's my little rant about people who hate things on principle. um. Edgefit says, I enjoy it, but the first season is very emo, like over the top, like when they get Robin to say "fuck Batman" when Batman's not even around. Yeah, no, like I do think the first season had trouble finding itself. That much I can agree with for sure. It really wasn't until the second season when like the themes of like that sort of found family and like taking care of each other kind of thing really started to pick up, and that's when I was like, oh, okay, I love this show. um and that has only continued into season 3, and I don't know, there's just something about it. Like, I haven't quite been able to put my finger on exactly what it is that I like about it, but um but yeah, it's a good show. It's a good show, but it is very violent, like unnecessarily so. Like, it goes way too hard in that direction, and it didn't need to, and it shouldn't have. Like, I'm not making any kind of like value judgment on that. I'm just like, this is a bit gratuitous. Like, you didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
I feel that way also about the, like, I understand the genre that Castlevania is, but the Castlevania animated series, sometimes I'm like, did we, this seems a little not. There's a lot of there's a lot of fleshy tubes on screen right now.
There's a lot of muchness in this right now. The muchness is too much.
Listen, I see enough of those in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Just because.
Yeah. Very true. Yes, exactly that. First season tried to Zack Snyder it. Yeah, for sure. I did. At first, I wasn't on board, but I actually did kind of like in Titans the way that they treated Raven as sort of like something that you would actually expect to see out of like a horror movie, right? Where like those sorts of horror movies where there's like somebody's being possessed, right? Like The Exorcist or something, like where there's been like a possession. And I thought it was cool that they treated Raven that way, because if you really think about it, Raven's powers are horrifying. Like, that a teenage girl has to deal with that shit. Like, her dad's a demon. So I did kind of like that take on the whole like Raven thing, but yeah.
Not like a big friendly like Gorthalax kind of demon.
No,
Like...
not at all. Not even a little bit. There's none of that. Hey, kiddo. So, no, like, none of that. It's just
none of that.
It's like, I am Trigon, and I am going to take over. You know, that whole
classic comic book stuff.
Yeah. Sorry. Let me catch up with chat. I was busy ranting about.
Amethyst asked if we had seen the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer.
Spider-Man No Way. Yeah. I saw it. It's cool that they've cast the exterminator from Mouse Hunt in that movie.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Alfred Molina is in it. Jesus. Okay. Yeah. I know that was a deep cut. I know that was a super deep cut. But like.
Oh my god.
My first reaction to that trailer.
Spy Kids. That's right. You sent me that, or you posted that meme the other day, and that makes me very happy. Sorry, John? What were you saying?
No, I was just gonna say my first reaction a few seconds into that was Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Just because I love Benedict Cumberbatch, and I love this version of Doctor Strange. I think he's very fun. And I'm very excited to have more of Doctor Strange and Tom Holland Spider-Man interacting with each other, and I'm very excited for all of that, and also just all of the cool. Like, I'm really interested to see if or how. No spoilers for Loki here, but like the any of the like little bits from Loki, one of the more recent Marvel Cinematic Universe shows, plays into this whole like movie about multiversal chaos. So I'm acutely interested.
So watch Loki also.
Yes, if you have like hashtag watch Loki.
Okay. Because I haven't yet, and I've been meaning to, but now I can see where it might be important to for this next Spider-Man.
It's really on its own, it's really good.
Right.
Like Loki was a really cool character. I think like Loki was an interesting character before, like post Ragnarok, especially. But Loki, the series, understandably as it is about Loki, really I think makes him a very interesting character. There's a lot of fun stuff that goes on in there, and the villain, the end of it is that whole episode.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. What was I gonna say? Yeah, mostly I've been watching shows lately. You know what I've been watching recently, and I'm not gonna go too far into it because this is gonna be one of the things on my media club thing. But I've been watching Fear the Walking Dead, which I know, but it is an all around better show than The Walking Dead. Like the first 3 seasons are fine. They are still better than the first 3 seasons of The Walking Dead, but they're not great. And then it picks up. It's absolutely incredible at a certain point because, like, I'll get more into it in like my media club list, but I genuinely like it. Like, it has something that The Walking Dead does not have. It has lots of things that The Walking Dead doesn't have. But one of those things is I actually have a favorite episode of Fear the Walking Dead.
Hey, there you go.
I actually have a favorite episode. I do not have a favorite episode of The Walking Dead.
My favorite episode of The Walking Dead was the last one that I watched.
There you go.
Very end of it.
I think I like moments from some episodes, but there's not a single episode that.
Yeah, no,
is,
I
or
fully
season
have
even.
I fully have a favorite episode. It's
That's cool.
amazing. And I won't get into it right now. I just know that that's what I've been obsessed with recently. I've been watching it and thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah.
I've been rewatching. I mentioned earlier, but I've been rewatching The Expanse again. It's it's weirdly become like sci-fi comfort media for me. Even though it's extremely dramatic, I just like it's so well executed, and I just adore the universe. And so I started with season 2 this time, and the entire arc in season 2 with Miller, and then like getting to actually like come to know Bobby as a character is very fun too. Like seeing early Bobby after watching like more recent seasons of The Expanse is also just it's wild to me. So I'm looking forward to like rewatching through all of this again with context kind of in one piece, because I've watched The Expanse kind of in as each season has come out.
Sorry, I'm really just thoroughly enjoying Matt and Edgefit roasting The Walking Dead early seasons in chat right now.
Good.
It makes me happy. But Lucas, what about that episode on the farm where they grumble and then fight with each other? Yes. Matt says, which one is that? Because that seems like all of season 2. And then Edgefit said, yes, Matt, that's the one. And not to be confused with them doing that at the prison. Also correct.
Right?
And I was also doing that at random little campsites in the middle of the forest.
See, just all the time.
That one was, well, in season 1, that wasn't great. Honestly, you know what, though? Season 4 of The Walking Dead was actually really interesting, because that's the one after the prison where they all get split up. And that was such an interesting season, because you got all of these like character moments where like all of the characters had just been really kind of broken down, and it's such a drastic tonal shift from the rest of the show up to that point, because it's much more sort of somber and like not thoughtful, that's the wrong word, but more contemplative, right? And you get a lot more silence in the shows, right? These long stretches of silence where the characters are just like they have to rely a lot on face acting, which is really interesting because up until that point, everything was just like, oh, I'm going to say exactly how I'm feeling and why I am motivated the way that I am motivated. And then to go from that to just these stretches where they're all looking so tired and just dejected. And I don't know, there was just something powerful about that season that was just like it made me sort of stop and go, oh, wow. Interesting. There was substance to that season, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
New Caitlin going feral over fonts just dropped. Nice, excellent.
It's one of as a comics editor, that's one of my favorite things that I've been seeing on my Twitter feed lately is Caitlin just going nuts over over fonts.
Yeah.
It also is 100% cursing me with noticing those fonts in everyday life.
Oh, Amethyst, have good luck on the walk. Hope you beat the thunder. Nico, Nico, I feel like there's something you're trying to tell me here. I'm not sure what it is. You're being very cryptic about it. Nico says, speaking of The Walking Dead, the writer of the original story, Robert Kirkman, is also the writer of Invincible, which you should watch. Stares directly into your eyes. I'm not sure how to interpret. I feel like there's something important that you're trying to tell me in there, but I can't quite parse it. Yeah, no, like it is definitely on my list for sure. Like that's something that I want to be doing at some point. I just haven't quite gotten around to it. It's that standard like inertia that comes with starting a new show or movie or whatever. Because your trolling needs some work. What trolling, Gemini? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to have a conversation.
Have y'all been into, and this goes for chat too, what have y'all been into any games lately? Like anything that has significantly pulled your attention or that you've been sunk back into? Y'all know what I'm going to talk about, but like, because for me, sorry, it was had a thing to do there. Anyway, yeah, no, for me, I have fully been sucked back into my my Metroid appreciation, just because I've been streaming a playthrough alongside Rachel Billings over on her channel on Sundays, and it's absolutely wild to me to watch somebody else go through playing kind of like their first Metroidvania game, because it illustrates to me a lot how much the like how many just like little skills in terms of movement and platforming that I just like have internalized. And I think it's very much like, Lucas, you know this about me, one of my favorite things about any game, or kind of a make or break thing for any game for me, is the movement. And given that Super Metroid was like a formative thing for me, and how just wild and precise and kind of energetic the movement in that game can be, I think I understand where that came from for me.
Edgefit says, can't vote in the poll. None of those answers seem correct. Yeah. Gemini says, I finally got Legendary Edition for my birthday, so I've been enjoying remastered Mass Effect. Nice. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to getting back into it. Jolly Old Up Nicholas says, I'm currently playing Psychonauts 2. Yeah, I've been watching that. There's a lot of teeth in that game, and I don't love that. And
the teeth were my least favorite thing about that. When I was watching it, I was kind of like half delirious the other night when I was watching you play Jolly Old Obnexless, but when you weren't somewhere full of teeth, it was very interesting.
Yeah, the teeth were not they weren't my favorite part of that game, but they were my least favorite part of that game. And let's see. Little Drummer says, I'm currently back into Pokemon Sword. Nice. Nice.
I don't think I ever played the Sword and Shield series.
We got a full-on tie in the poll.
Thank you, chat.
Just a full.
Thank you.
Chat is just next level memeing on your poll.
I tried to meme on all of you, but you have memed back on me. This is what I get. This frequently
I
anywhere
think
that I
is
have
that
full
is
privilege.
that is that did Nietzsche say that?
Yeah, I think that might have been
Mhm.
actually. Maybe it was Blake.
when
Yeah, it was
when you
Blake.
when you
If
meme into the chat memes also into you.
yeah, no, actually, and then there was also one of his more famous quotes. Meme pole, tying bright. Um,
Damn it.
That was so much worse than the one that I said. Like better, but
Wow.
worse.
Yeah, I was trying to figure
Wow.
out one like if the doors are or if the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to poles as it is tied. There's also that. Like I can do that one
Damn.
too.
The
I
bard
know
has
a lot about
spoken.
William Blake. Okay.
The bard has spoken, y'all.
I know so much about William Blake, and I
I
never
cannot
get
do this with you right now. Okay, I cannot do this with you. Um. Anyway.
Amazing. Amazing.
Hello, Chicken Free Cage. It's good to see you over here. I was literally just talking about Super Metroid streams with Rachel, so it's good to see you.
Hey. Welcome, welcome. Nico says, I'm slowly but surely making my way through Monster Hunter World's Iceborne expansion. Nice. Um, that sounds that sounds awesome, actually. I've never really been that into like Monster Hunter or like the concept of it, but like
Mhm.
some of the screenshots that I saw out of that expansion looked dope.
Honestly, like you could have a good time in Monster Hunter just wandering around, like put it on the absolute highest settings and just wander around with the camera and catch the little baby wildlife and take
Hmm.
pictures of things because it's such a pretty game.
Uh,
And then get killed by a murderous lightning monkey.
um, Jolly Old Nexus says I found more teeth. Great, love that. Hey, I hate it. Um, William Blake is actually a long distant cousin of mine. Really, Hessen? That's amazing.
Are you serious though? Like for real?
Well,
That's wild. That's so cool.
huh.
So for context, because I know I talked about this sometimes like early on in rule of lore history, but I haven't talked about Blake in a while. I actually when I was in college, one of my senior seminars for a whole semester, I studied William Blake. And so I have a lot of knowledge about this one particular British Romantic author, poet, artist. Thank you, Matt, for the teacher command. Yeah, I have a lot jammed into my head about William Blake. I don't think I have it here, but I think I do have it like right over here. My old like anthology of William Blake, like William Blake's entire works.
Let's see. I saw Remy is playing Garden Story. It's really relaxing while still being engaging. I play it in bed before going to bed. Nice. Nice.
Nice. Awesome.
It's good to have like I think it's good to have those little like winding down games, you know, the cooling like it's like the cool off, you know, the cool off game.
Yeah, like for me, that's
Unless
very
you're playing the forest until 1 a.m.
No, that sounds like a very soothing game because walks through the forest are
No,
very relaxing, right?
there
Right.
have been. Yes.
Especially when you have the company that you have in the forest.
Yes.
Yep. Sure. Mhm.
Mm.
I picked up Ghost Runner, which is sort of like cyberpunk action 3D platform, 3D action platformer. Um, it's very hard, and but it's a lot of fun. When like it's one of those games where like if you do everything right, it feels so fucking cool. But if you do it wrong, which is it's really really easy to do it wrong and die instantaneously. But yeah, it's the soundtrack slaps. That what I will say that the soundtrack is incredible. Um, yeah, Ghost Runner, it's pretty cool. Not really my style of game, so I was surprised when I ended up really liking it. But yeah,
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that you wound up as into Ghost Runner
yeah,
as you
it's like
did
it's a
because
hardcore 3D action platformer. Like
Hmm. Mhm.
Those are words that like are appealing to me.
Yeah, I started
but
playing it immediately. I was like, this is a John game. This is a John game.
I really need to play it.
Amethyst, welcome back. We are discussing. John asked us what like video games we've been playing recently, if we've been into any new ones. Um, God, what else was I playing? I think. The hell else have I been playing? Oh,
Hmm.
Pillars of Eternity. I've been playing Pillars of Eternity because it's fun and I enjoy it, and I like those top-down party-based isometric RPGs, and
Good
it's
stuff.
yeah. Yeah, Nico, that's fair. That like Ghost Runner, it's somewhat of a taxing game, and it's one where you don't want to have a whole lot of lag, or else you're gonna die instantaneously. There are so
Yeah.
like the number of times in that game. I might even play it on the server at some point. Like I think that could be fun playing it on in the
Mhm.
Discord server. The number of times playing that game where I go, "Holy shit, that should not have worked," uh, is they're too numerous to list really. Um, um, Nico says, I love Monster Hunter World because its story takes great care to justify the hunting of monsters within its world. You're basically part of a research expedition into a recently discovered, roughly 50-ish years continent. All the monsters that you kill or capture are either endangering your expedition, and the people that are at that point made that place their home, or are endangering the local wildlife. You're basically a park ranger. I see. That's great. I love that. That's
Mhm.
that's
That
very
sounds like fun.
yeah. It's
Yeah, I think
go ahead.
in the most recent, I do like Monster Hunter World's justification for why you're hunting monsters. Because like in the most recent I can't say the most recent Monster Hunter game. There's a new one I think now more recent than Rise, but in Monster Hunter Rise, it's kind of like the thing that you would expect, which is like, our village is threatening to be overrun by a rampage of giant monsters. Please stop them from killing everyone in the village. Go hunt them.
We must save
Um,
my family. Sorry, had
we
to
must save.
make the reference.
I mean, Idjafit mentioned Sword Art Online earlier,
Oh,
so like
really? I missed
yeah,
that.
yeah, no, it was when I think it was when we were talking about media that we'd watched earlier.
Gotcha. And as
And
we
I think
know,
Idjafit
Sword Art
mentioned,
Online Abridged is the actual real show. That's the real one.
yeah, I think it was that they were watching one of the more recent seasons, Ordinal Scale or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, I only know that name because I way back when I was watching Sword Art Online, I remember people talking about the manga arc that hadn't been turned into anime yet. So it's anime now, I guess.
Thunder Cabbage, thank you so much for the resub. Welcome. 3 months. Wow. Welcome. That should get you a special badge, right? Like it's 3 month.
Yeah, I
You
think
should.
yeah, it's 1 month, 3 month, 6 month,
There's
1 year.
there's a 9 month one too, I believe. Do we have a
Okay,
nine
yeah,
month one? I don't remember
I
honestly.
think it is. Yeah,
yeah,
I think
I
there's one
think.
that we skipped though. I don't
that might
remember.
be it.
Maybe we have them all. I don't know. We have.
Yeah, the Littlest Drummer has the 3 month badge.
Okay, great. Yes, excellent. Okay.
The little unravel. I think one is a scroll, and then it's an unraveled scroll, and I don't know.
Mhm.
Oh, Ordinal
Mhm.
Scale is a
Yeah.
movie between season 2 and season 3. Okay, cool.
Cool. All right. Yeah. You know what movie I haven't seen in a long time, and I really should.
Hmm.
Well, it's two actually, but it's Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick.
Mm-hmm.
I need to
Mm-hmm.
rewatch
Yeah,
those soon. It's been way too long. I
I'll
think
say
I
like
was still
movie.
in. I think I was in college, like a freshman in college when I last saw those. So like it's been a long time.
I think it's been about that long for me too,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. Like, I think the last time that I saw them was shortly after I graduated high school.
Also, also, can we talk about the fact that I just? Can we talk about the fact that I just said described? Oh, Freeman. Okay. Can we talk about the fact that I just described my freshman year of college as a long time ago?
I don't want to unpack that one. Let's move. Wait, actually, damn, Koala's already left. Here, I'll be Koala. Hold.
Yeah.
I am, even though
Oh.
Koala is not here, they are here in spirit.
Mm-hmm. Always. Um. Let's see. Nico says, y'all, if you like murder mysteries and time travel stories, don't sleep on 12 Minutes. The game has voice performances James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley, and Willem Dafoe. I have been hearing this. That's actually the most that I've heard about it. But I have been hearing about the game recently, and yeah, like that's interesting. I might have to look. I might have to look into that. That sounds kind of good. I've bought so many games recently, though. I need to not do that anymore.
Mhm.
I need to slow down.
I need to play some more of the Coral. I backed Coral Island when it was in like when they were kickstarting it, and so I have alpha access, and I need to play some more of that because I saw the other day that it updated on Steam, and I was like, ooh, more things to do. Regrettably, I cannot stream that one anywhere yet because it's an alpha, and they will revoke my alpha access for that because it is under NDA.
Yeah.
I do really at some point, either in the Discord or around here somewhere, would love to play Metroid Dread when it comes out because I've been so on the Metroid game lately. I'm about to play as soon as I can find a charger for the DS the old DS that I have. I'm gonna play through Fusion, which is the game that is directly before Dread. I want to play Dread. I want people to witness me witnessing Dread. Really, is what I want. So, Lucas, you look very sad. Is your water mug empty?
Oh no, I was just scraping off. It's a copper mug, so occasionally like it develops that sort of like patina. It gets that like sort of like greenish sort of stuff. And I was just scraping some of it off. The kind of stuff
like you
that
do.
yeah,
The
like
stuff
you
that
do.
grows on my nails.
Yeah,
Love it.
I
Patina color, baby.
Listen, I was recently explaining to somebody that like it's funny, right? With ADHD, if you were somebody who didn't know me, or if you were somebody who was unfamiliar with ADHD or whatever, um you would think like there's sometimes when like I'm talking to people where like I'm like fiddling with stuff, I'm looking somewhere else, I'm like, messing with things. And that to some people I think would be an indication that like I'm not listening to you, but actually I'm taking in what you're saying better than if I was sitting here going like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like if I do that, if I make an effort to like pay attention to people and do this, the words they say go here and then that way and then
Yeah.
I have to be. The reason that I have this fan flipping around in my hand right now is that I have to be fidgeting with something. Like my hands must be occupied.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's why you'll see me. I've never like actually addressed this. I used to be self-conscious of it, but now I don't give a fuck. But like that's why
Amen.
you'll see me just sort of like doing weird shit with my hands on
Mhm.
stream all the time. That's my
I know
fidget. That's my
what you
fidget.
mean.
Because especially during like TTRPGs, because I gotta be paying attention to what my players are saying, and it's really hard for me. So I gotta be like if I'm sitting perfectly still, chances are I've heard none of what you said, or I've heard it but processed exactly zero of it. Um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It's one of the reasons I have found why I really like if I have to talk to somebody about something, I really like to do it. I like to go on a walk and do it. Um because then I am in motion,
mm-hmm.
and so that
Mhm.
satisfies that portion of things. And so like I can focus. The only downside is that I'm gigantic. I have very long legs, and I will, as I'm talking and thinking, as my thoughts start to go faster while I'm talking to somebody, I'll start to take longer and quicker strides. And because I'm 6'2", that means that
I feel you.
Yeah.
which is fine if I'm walking with most members of my family because they're all a bunch of tall motherfuckers, but not necessarily in a lot of my in other company.
I had several thoughts like throughout in the last 5 minutes, and they just like rapid fired like left me.
All of your thoughts collided with each other, and
Yeah.
yeah, I feel that. That's yeah, mood. Oh shit, I totally forgot to say earlier when we talked about video games, I finally 100%ed Batman Arkham City last week. Nice! I remember you telling me that you were doing that. Hell yeah. That is impressive. I do not have the attention span to do that, so I am very impressed by you. um, that's awesome. Congrats. That is definitely for sure an achievement. Um, Fidget, never heard of her. Only took about 5 times longer than Arkham Asylum. Nice, yeah. I am not I don't know. I'm not a completionist when it comes to games. Like the closest I've ever come is in Mass Effect 3, and only because you need to have like in order to unlock all the options without engaging in multiplayer, which I don't super enjoy doing. Um, you gotta like have as many as many like points as possible, which means you gotta do as much of the extra side shit as you possibly can. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it is. Fuck Catwoman Predator
I
Extreme Mission. Ugh, rough.
I I 100%ed. This will surprise no one. Super Metroid, um, and I both of these games that I 100%ed, I actually did before the age of the internet when I could just look up a map and go find it. So that's I think that this speaks to my enjoyment of the Metroidvania series and also the extreme moments of boredom that I would experience in long car trips because the states of Jonathan in long car trips are I am talking to you, I am doing something actively like when I was a child on a Game Boy or like reading a book, or I am asleep. Those are the modes.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I did Super Metroid, and that I did. I think when I was a teenager, one summer, I just like was like, I am gonna go find every single goddamn item in this game, and I did it. It took me a long time. It was a speed run. It was not. And then I also did it in Fusion, and I think I had some. I had like this is gonna date me, but I had like a magazine or something that had like some of the suggestions as to where to look for things that helped me, but it wasn't like a full like map of where everything was in Fusion. So I did 100%
Yeah.
Fusion too because you got Fusion had the cool perk that you got to see more like cool little slides of art and stuff at the end of it, the more items you got. And I think there was an additional one for getting 100%. So that was my motivation to 100% that game.
Yeah. Nice. Um, like Lucas, imagine playing a Predator room, but you don't have a cape, you don't have real detective vision, and you only have access to 3 gadgets. Now do that 8 times, and then 8 more times, but harder, and then do that again, but with even more negative modifiers. Uh, that's one of the most disappointing things about that game to me is that playing like the actual gameplay of playing as Catwoman feels really good. Like it feels clean, it feels fun, you feel super cool. But then they make you do shit that doesn't let you do any of that. Like the Catwoman side of like the story makes you do stuff that doesn't let you do any of that stuff, and that's very frustrating. What a squandered opportunity, I think, on the part of that game. It always felt to me like the Catwoman stuff was just sort of like tacked on as an afterthought, which sucks and is a disservice. In this house, we respect Selena Kyle. So yeah, that's I cannot overstate how bad the Catwoman Riddler missions are. Yeah, yep. So yeah, best Catwoman part is where you pickpocket the guards in the vault. Yep, I agree. I think that's very good. Also, very fun to playing her in the combat challenges because uh you can chain so many combos with her. It's incredible. There's something that really just a totally different just a feeling when you just watch that combo number just keep going up. Um,
Watching combo numbers just rack up is a special kind of serotonin.
yeah. Um, all right. Well, we're actually at the end of our show.
Would you look at that?
We have arrived here at the end. The end of all things. All things Ramblemancy, anyway.
Mhm.
Um, But you know what? It doesn't have to be the end because we wouldn't you know it, we have a Discord, and on that Discord, you can keep the conversations that take place right here going. You can keep them. That was not the most dramatic word to end on, but it's the one that was next. So, um, but
Not only that, you can be greeted with a chorus of good mornings and good zones every single day just by checking general chat. It's the most wholesome thing.
yeah. And Amethyst Cat Lady, to answer your question, Discord, not Discord, not Discord.
I swear it's this one which I haven't used for months, maybe even a year now, maybe even 2 years. What are you? Where did you come from?
John, when the fuck did you do that? When did you do that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Also, if you've ever done a cartwheel and you've
Can't with
sprained your leg and you pull the muscle, hit the subscribe button down below. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe. Also, leave a comment and like. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely, absolutely, we do. The other that let me try that again in a language. We also have a Patreon, as you've heard us mention numerous times throughout tonight with the media club and all that sort of stuff. You can support us there. In fact, given the way Twitch has been lately, maybe it's better if you do that. Or
Frankly, yes.
maybe it's better. Like we very much appreciate all of your like subscriptions and the bits being thrown around, but this is the platform that it is. So
Yes, I'll put.
but we also have a coffee. So yeah, you can send us some stuff there. You can support us in those ways, all of which are better ways to support us. That's all I'm going to say about
In
that.
that
Not going to get too into that because here we are. But you can do that. We haven't set up our Streamlabs stuff yet, but we might. We may actually, in fact, do that.
yeah, we've been looking into that.
So, yeah. So those are all great ways to support us, support this channel, and keep the cool stuff coming. And let me tell you, it is coming. There's a lot of cool stuff. I met with somebody yesterday to work on working on a project that I'm very excited for you all to see, but unfortunately, you won't be able to see it for a very long time. And it's one of the downsides of actually being ahead of schedule and like on top of things is that I have to sit on this stuff for way longer. So,
it's the price of working months in advance.
it truly is. Yeah.
Speaking of other exciting things coming up, the thing we talked about at the beginning of the stream, Republic City Rumble is a 4-episode Avatar Legends actual play that we are going to be collaborating with the one and only Q Times. Coming up here at the end of September. 2 episodes hosted on Q Times, 2 episodes hosted here on Rule of Lore. It's going to be focused on professional bending, as seen, similar to that as seen in The Legend of Korra. We'll have 2 cast members, Remy Ripple, who we've seen in chat tonight, and Liv Chavez here from Rule of Lore, and Xander and Sam from over on Q Times. Lucas will be jamming the 2 episodes here on Rule of Lore, and Krug will be jamming the ones over on Q Times. So you can catch that again starting on September 5th. You can keep an eye out, of course, also September 25th. Thank you.
Well, you said 5th. It's the 25th. It's actually 20 days after that.
20, yeah.
Don't tune in for that on the 5th because you won't find it.
Yeah, it won't be there. Keep an eye on our socials and Q Times socials for the next few weeks. You will see many more interesting things about that coming up, but you heard it here first, folks.
That's right. If you tuned in tonight and heard this announcement, congratulations. You know a thing before other people know a thing. Yeah, I think that's everything. I did see somebody mentioned merch. We do have a merch store. Another great way to support us, and that gets you some cool shit. Like you get a mug. You could get a mug. You could get stickers. You can get Infinite Horizon or Rule of Lore hoodies. You can get featuring art from not that shirt, but because
Not this one.
that's a prototype that we made like 5 of. There are literally 5 of that shirt in the entire world. But
That's I forgot what shirt I'm wearing.
so you can't get that
Oh.
one, but you can get other shirts. So yeah, heck yeah, time to be cryptic and smug to people. Exactly, Nico. Exactly.
That is why we made this announcement.
Yeah, there it is.
Shirts like that one.
Yeah, shirts.
This is the
just like
season
that.
1 art, but there's season 2 art as well.
I keep
so,
forgetting to get
from
my
Infinite
shirt
Horizon.
with the season 2 art. I keep forgetting.
I also me too.
Whose bright idea was it to let me know things? You know, Amethyst, I couldn't say. Well, technically, wouldn't. You know what? You can blame Jake for that one. Actually, it was his idea for us to announce this tonight.
Literally today.
Yeah.
Literally today.
Yeah.
Our group chat is simultaneously extremely organized, but also very chaotic.
Yeah, you can. Because Jake's not here to defend himself. I'm gonna pass the buck, and you can blame Jake for that one, Amethyst. It's his fault that you were allowed to know things.
It's all Jake's fault.
So, yeah. I think that's everything. That's all we got. So, everyone, we will see you tomorrow, hopefully, right here at 6 p.m. Pacific time for some more Borderlands, where we may finish the campaign. We probably will die horribly many times over for your entertainment. And
I will explode. Things around me will explode. I'll put a lot of people in timeout.
Yeah, and occasionally people around John will explode. And not always the ones that you want. Like me, for instance. John is the fuck around to my find out. We will see you hopefully tomorrow for that. But if not, we will see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night and good zone, everybody.